from Goalpost Studios in downtown East Lansing, Michigan,
Hello and welcome to the Earn More, Keep More show.
where it's our job to give you tips, tricks, and strategies to earn more and keep more. I'm Dave McAndrews, and I believe that we should focus our marketing on messages that are all about our clients so that we can connect with them in a way that they can understand.
And I'm Matt Love, and I believe in being efficient with our companies so that we are able to keep more of what we make.
Me up beautifully, and that's why I stay plugged in, and I always contribute to my community.
What's up, Dave?
How we doing today?
I'm doing really well. It's a beautiful day outside in Michigan.
It's nothing like February in Michigan, man. It really brings the men out of men and the boy, I don't know, something. Lumberjack weather all around.
It's like April now, isn't it? Or March?
It's February. Still February.
Is it? Oh, man.
It's February. It's been a long February.
Winter in Michigan is so long.
Well, you wouldn't know if it was February or March because it just kind of runs together.
All right, let's get to the topic.
Let's do it.
Today we're going to talk about how to keep more. One of the biggest mistakes that most people don't even realize they're making when it comes to wealth building and building a business and building a brand and building a company with employees. I have a saying that I use with people all the time. I don't care how much you're worth. I care how much you could lose if something bad happens to you.
People don't like thinking about that, though.
It's not.
That's a tough sell.
It's not a happy thought. But let me ask you one question, Dave. If I could show you how to have everything that you want, under multiple circumstances, both good circumstances and in the event that something might happen if it's bad, you still get what you want. Would you consider that a good professional relationship?
That sounds nice to me.
And the problem is that it's available to people. It's free. We just have to know who to talk to. And so
What do you mean it's free?
It's advice. It's the partnering. This whole show is about how to build a business and a brand, and you have the right team. We have professional advisors. We have professionals who work for us. Surrounding yourself with professionals that understand their role, and by us, we talked about this last time, letting go of certain things. There are ways to put protection in your business and in your personal life so that you will never go backwards.
I think that a lot of our listeners probably struggle with the balance between business and personal life. And I would imagine that there are a lot of folks out there who think a lot about protecting themselves from a business standpoint, but, and myself included, do not think nearly as much about that from a personal standpoint.
Well, I forget the number of how many millions of small businesses there are in America, and a lot of those small businesses use the same tax ID number as the person who owns it. So that's the same entity. You know what kind of liability you're exposing yourself to?
So maybe you want to look into at least creating an LLC.
Maybe. Again, this show is not designed to be some sort of, here's the prescription of what you need to go do. Our job is just to talk about problems and turn these problems into a process.
If I had a client that came to me and they said, oh, by the way, you're going to get a check from my personal account, I would have some question marks right there. It's like, so why is this coming from your personal account and not a business account? Because that tells me that you are lacking a level of protection that you probably need.
Yep.
Really, regardless of what type of industry that you're in. And I would think that a lot of the folks who do what you're saying, which is use their Social Security as their tax ID.
Yeah.
Those are probably the most vulnerable out there.
Oh, and that's what's the most common.
Because you're talking about plumbers, you're talking about electricians,
painters,
painters,
all the trades.
And by the way, if you're going into someone's house, eventually, on a long enough timeline, there's a pretty good chance that something is going to happen. You're going to have a negative circumstance, and bad things can happen.
Yeah, it's not a question of if. It definitely is a question of when. Who's it going to happen to and when? So when it comes to the business perspective, there's ways to protect your business and keep it separate from your personal stuff. So my rule number one when it comes to financial success or financial wealth, how to have a successful company, is to protect yourself and those that you love. I don't care. I'm going to say it again. I'm passionate about this. I don't care how much wealth you have. I care about how much wealth you could lose if something bad happens to you. So having a solid plan in place first the right LLC, the right corporation if you want to get incorporated, the right types of insurances in force. All of those things are much more important than trying to chase a rate of return.
And people spend 90%, 95% of their time figuring out how to get that rate of return.
Yeah, well, it's fun doing that stuff. Who wants to talk about insurance and, auto insurance? I mean, sorry for all the P&C agents out there listening, but it's boring stuff. It takes people time out of their day to look at liability limits, deductible amounts. It's not fun to talk about.
It does sound terrible.
It is. It's horrible. But to have the right plan in place is a permission slip to now be even more risky than you were going to be previously. Everything's a trade-off, right? It's the yin and the yang. I don't just go chase the rate of return. I don't go try and build a big brand or a big business and leave myself exposed in the event of a lawsuit. I have to protect myself at the same time. And by protecting myself well, it might cost a little bit of money, but come on, if you want to make $1 million, do you care it cost you $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 to get the right incorporation paperwork set up?
No.
You really don't. And again, if we want to...
And it certainly doesn't cost near that much.
No. If you want to learn how to earn more, this is how you increase the rate of return. You want to try and keep more, you better protect yourself. Because in one wrong move... Here's the funny question I used to ask. If you've ever seen a lawsuit, in a lawsuit, do people ask for a little bit or a lot?
As much as humanly possible.
As much as possible. I saw something on the news the other day. This guy bought a used car from a company out in, out west somewhere. And the car wasn't in as good a shape as what he was led to believe.
Not as advertised.
Not as advertised. This isn't even that bad. That company, by selling a car where they misled the consumer, quote unquote misled the consumer, got a $5.6 million lawsuit judgment. The car was $70,000.
5.6.
$5.6 million. Now they're going to fight it. It's going to be tied up in the court systems. The lawyers are going to be the ones making the money. However,
lawyers are going to do fantastic on that deal.
Oh gosh, we live in a litigious society where attorneys can go. They call them ambulance chasers. They follow ambulances all around and find out what happened in the accident and who can we sue, how much money can we get out of that person. Anyone in this that's listening and trying to build a brand, you're driving a Range Rover downtown right now. I have clients listening. You're driving a Range Rover. You look down at your phone and you start texting. You hit someone. You injure that person. Maybe it's a doctor going to work. Now that doctor can't go to their office. That doctor has the right to sue you because you weren't paying attention, and you're liable. You're liable for the damage and liable for the lost wages that doctor would have earned if he never got injured.
That's a scary thing.
And if you're driving a Range Rover, David, they're going to sue you for a little bit or a lot.
They're going to sue you for a lot.
They're going to sue you for a lot. So you better make sure your auto insurance is up to date. All of that stuff.
People have a hard time spending time on things that are worst case scenarios when they are in business, because by and large are hanging on by their fingernails already, or at least have that feeling that they have to go make the next deal or figure out how to take care of the next 6 months before they can take the time to get protected in such a way.
You want a great example of a multi-million-dollar company that lost everything because of a few little mistakes that would have been extremely inexpensive to fix?
Yeah.
You do?
What happened?
I have no idea, because they never got a chance to make the multi-million dollars, and they got it they got in so much trouble they never got the ability to get that far. They lost it all. There's plenty of examples where people get hit with 5, 6, 10, 17, $20 million lawsuits.
Yeah, that's just warming up for a lawyer.
And it's crippling for a company. It will bring you to your knees. You cannot continue the way you wanted to. Now you have a completely different priority set, and that's where bankruptcy comes in. You have to start from scratch. Again, I don't care how much wealth you have. I care about how much wealth you can lose in the event that something bad happens.
I believe that there's also an element of this on being selective on your clients. I think there are a lot of clients out there that, whereas they may say that they want services and whatever, that they are the type of people that you should run screaming away from.
Oh, yeah.
Because I experienced this quite a bit in a previous career. I have not had to deal with it too much with my own company because of the fact that I learned the lessons that if someone seems like they're going to be a problem to work with, they are going to be a problem to work with.
Oh yeah, the red flags are there up front. You know what's going to happen.
And if you expose yourself to that type of client, you are doing yourself a disservice. And if you expose yourself to that type of client without the right provisions in place to make sure that you can survive such a turn of events where you have a lawsuit happy client that goes after you for whatever reason, that's a scary place to be.
You know, it's all about building a team around you, and your clientele is part of your team. You know, the funny thing, a lot of people that are in sales or trying to sell products or selling services, for example, you know going into it if it's going to be a problem down the road. But
Absolutely.
But sometimes we are so eager to make that sale, to make that commission. I call it commission breath. You just want to make that money. Who cares? We'll deal with them later. Those are the biggest problems. And that can be crippling to a company.
And I think it's important as entrepreneurs are building their teams and they have salespeople. At the point you have salespeople on your team, you have to have the conversation with them that explains to them that you have to be selective. You cannot just go for whoever is willing to pay the most. Because at the point that you're going for whoever is willing to pay the most, they may or may not have your best interests in mind. And the mutually beneficial customer is the only type of customer that I am even remotely interested in
Absolutely.
working with.
My favorite clientele, without a doubt, hands down, I've defined this years ago. A successful entrepreneur who loves their family and hates paying extra taxes. If I can find, or if someone like that finds me, I can provide so much value. Because all I teach is exactly what they're looking for. How to protect those that you love, how to protect your business that you love and you've spent a lot of time creating, and how to reduce costs. Like this show says, you want to earn more, you want to keep more. If we can reduce the costs for your business and for your personal world, that increases your bottom line, and it takes no risk in order to get there. Understanding how these protection components work is exactly what I'm talking about, the right insurances. I talk to a lot of young people, and their income is their biggest asset. Well, you can insure your income. If you get disabled, you can get a disability check. I talk to people who have the wrong car insurance. We drive missiles 70, 80 miles down the road, and we get text messages all day long. If we get in an accident, we're liable. Gosh, this is cheap insurance that we can shop around and get the best pricing for, but you're covered. It takes all the risk off the table, so we don't have to expose ourselves to risk anymore. Having the right estate plan put in force. We're in Michigan. Aretha Franklin passed away this past year. She didn't have a will set up. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. I did hear about that.
Her entire estate went to probate court. Who's making money, her heirs or lawyers?
Lawyers.
Lawyers are going to make money.
Once again, lawyers win.
Lawyers
for the
win. And when are lawyers going to, how are they incentivized to get that case out of the court system?
For them, they're not, as opposed to the ambulance chasers lawyers who are incentivized to drive to settlement as soon as humanly possible for as large a number as humanly possible.
Yes, exactly. It's scary. There's ways to be successful and have your business successful in the good times and in the bad times. And it's about understanding the rules of the game.
You don't know what you don't know.
It doesn't take extra risk. This is where we talked last time about endurance and the idea of, the chicken or the egg, which comes first? Well, are we building a company and a clientele that we want to have in the future? Or are we building a company or a clientele that we need to have because I got to get that sale. We got to go to the next, I need the money. Well, when you're in that position, we tend to make poor decisions. We take a client that we shouldn't have. It's going to cause even more problems down the road. Whereas the flip side of the coin is, what if I know what I want to create? So I'm not going to take that clientele. And yes, I'm going to, delay a paycheck for a while. But I'm not getting into something that could cause even more of a headache down the road.
Sure, and that goes to the 80-20 rule. 20% of your clients are going to give you 80% of your returns. The 80% are going to just suck your time and life away.
And then so our job is to identify that 20% and spend time with them. Identify who that person is. Identify who on your team is that same 20%. And if we can build a life around those types of people.
So say your criteria again. What were the things?
Oh, the only people that I want to work with are entrepreneurs who love their family and hate paying extra taxes.
So it's interesting that you say that the love your family part, because
it's crucial.
It's kind of that touchy-feely almost. But really what that translates into is the fact that you don't really want to work with assholes.
Exactly. I don't.
And in my life, if I can avoid working with all and any assholes, I am going to do that, because those are the people that are going to suck your time, your energy, and also potentially end up suing you for no reason,
They're going to be angry. They don't believe what you believe. Everything becomes a convincing game. Oh my gosh, I got out of the convincing game years ago. I don't convince anybody anything any longer. I teach them how things work, and it's up to them if they want to move forward. I had a recent run-in with a prospect. I was helping a young business owner take care of his family, take care of his business. We talked about all sorts of different aspects of the business and success and wealth principles, showing him how to keep more under multiple circumstances. In the end, he says, no, I don't want to do anything. I just want to spend money on fun. But I do want to go mountain biking with you. I had to sit down. I was so taken back by his inability to recognize how he exposed his family and his company to so much unnecessary risk for pennies, literally it's a horrible, horrible financial choice. And then in the same sentence say, I want to hang out with you. And I was kind. I sent a long email response saying, I am a firm believer in abiding to my morals and my ethics and living and surrounding myself with people that inspire me. And if I surround myself with people that inspire me, I'll eventually get better. I want to get better every single day. If I violate that, what direction do I go in? So my response to him was, I don't think that would work out. Respectfully decline. I wish you well. And we parted ways.
Here's the takeaway.
It's almost like you're trying to be the Ralph Nader of the 1970s. Do you remember how Nader started? So Nader started on the campaign to put seatbelts in cars.
Oh, nice.
So his desire was to make everyone safer. And kind of what you're talking about is essentially creating that safety net for a company, for a family, being able to do that.
Yes, permission slip.
Later he became, a presidential candidate in some very interesting directions. But that that desire to keep people safe from their own choices, that's pretty interesting.
Look at it goes down to the same question I asked in the beginning. If I could show you how to protect your business, how to protect your family, so that you get what you want under multiple circumstances, and I show you how it doesn't cost you a thing, would you consider that a good professional relationship?
Absolutely.
If your advisor, if your friends, or if your teammates do not talk to you in that way, if they're not helping, there's an old saying, if your business isn't growing, what is it doing?
Dying.
If it's not helping, it's going to be hurting. There is no in between. So I believe that you don't have to spend all this extra money it might take a little bit of time. Obviously, this is one of the things we got to find people to surround ourselves that can help us with that stuff. But in the end, it's going to pay off because it's a permission slip to now go take risk with everything I do.
So the risk piece is pretty interesting because of the fact that most people think of insurance as just taking away risk.
Sure.
But business leaders and entrepreneurs have to be able to manage their risk and take appropriate risks.
Sure.
And to continue to push their company forward.
Sure.
So I really like the fact that you are thinking of it in terms of how do you keep yourself protected in a way that you can still pour gasoline on the fire?
If you follow financial principles to earn more and keep more, you have to have liquidity. Again, when I'm talking about protecting yourself, it's not just insurance. It's getting estate plans done. It's getting wills and trusts completed. It's understanding how much money you should have in the bank. It's understanding what a retirement account's use is. It's understanding all of these things that can help us build wealth and build that business that we're trying to create. Too often, people are so focused on, I got to get more money, I got to get more sales, and they're leaving themselves exposed in the long run.
So figuring out a way to really insulate yourself from bad occurrences. If you can do that while still throwing gas on the fire, still figuring out how to earn more and drive your business forward and live life, because a lot of the insurance and protection conversation is really putting cotton on somebody and keeping them insulated from everything in life. And that is completely against what I think most entrepreneurs are looking to do. Most entrepreneurs want to figure out, okay, how do I strap a rocket onto this bicycle so that I can go over the Grand Canyon?
And then sell it on Amazon.
And then sell it on Amazon. So let's figure out how to keep ourselves protected in a way that is healthy,
Yes.
allows you to do your three things.
Be a successful entrepreneur, love your family, love your business, and don't overpay in taxes.
And really drive yourself in alignment in that way. And,
Yes.
and it is awesome how you have been able to align what you do, because essentially your job is to help people have more money, right?
Yeah.
What my job is to have that same type of alignment, which is to help them earn more, help them drive their business, grow their business. If that alignment isn't there, do yourself a favor. Just make sure that, if somebody comes in, they're an asshole, make sure you give them the full price asshole tax
Get
of
out.
double, triple,
Asshole
or just
tax, that's right.
just stay away
Yep.
from me and my company, and really keep yourself with people who are aligned with your interests and the interests of your family.
Yep.
And I think you go a whole lot further, a whole lot faster.
And to be honest, it's more fun. It
Absolutely.
really is more fun. Yeah, I
my
take a
gosh.
deep breath at night. I know my business is fine. I know my family is going to be fine if anything happens to me. It gives me a permission slip to go skydiving, to go do that extra investment that I wanted to do that might probably more risky, that I don't have control over. It's maybe there's some crazy pharmaceutical company that I could put some money into. Maybe I got to hire 2 or 3 more employees this year, and I don't know if it's going to be there. I have that risk hedged, so it doesn't become a risk. It's wonderful.
You have
I call-
margin.
Margin. It's called a permission slip. I call it a permission slip. I think it's great.
Hall pass?
It's a hall pass.
It's not a hall pass.
It's not a hall pass.
No, it's not. Not if you love your family.
No, my wife is listening. No hall pass. No hall pass. But yes, it's fun too for family men. Just for a little side note here, I'm going to be a dad this year. Woohoo! Woohoo! We're going to have a little girl in May. Oh gosh, I almost said April. In May.
That's
Dude,
coming quick, man.
I know, early May. It's going to be crazy.
Nursery painted pink yet?
We just put up wallpaper this past couple of weeks ago, and I think it's going to be like a light purple, actually.
Light purple. How cute.
I don't know what. It's going to be crazy.
Well, as a father of 3 girls, strap in, get ready.
Yeah.
It's about
I'm
time.
going to pay for a wedding now down the road.
That has to be part of your financial plan.
It
now.
does have to be part of the financial.
Yeah. College, weddings.
You don't
Lord.
need a college plan to send your kid to school. You need money. You don't need a retirement plan to retire. You need money.
You don't need a wedding plan to.
You don't need a wedding plan to get
You need
married.
money.
You need money. I drove my retirement plan over here today. It's almost springtime. I decided to get the car out, but your retirement plan doesn't have to be a fictitious account that you never access. Mine's a sports car.
It's a very nice retirement plan.
It's a very nice retirement plan. We'll talk about that another day.
We'll see if the baby seat can fit in the back of the Jag. I'm guessing that it cannot. We really appreciate everybody continuing to support us. This is the 8th episode, and we're still rolling in, getting ready to change to the month of March. We're going to do one more month, which is going to be just me and Matt, and then we are going to start opening it up to some entrepreneurial friends to start learning, digging into their heads, their minds, their methods, and figuring out what they are doing to earn more and keep more, because that's really what we are trying to build this community for, is to learn from each other on how to earn more and keep more. Obviously, myself as a sales and marketing guy, having a company that works in that area, I'm very interested in learning what the latest and greatest is, because I have to never stop learning in my area.
Yeah, you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You're a business owner.
Learning how to keep more on your side, and figuring out the latest and greatest for financial planning, for protection, for all of those things.
All of those things. I wouldn't even call myself a financial planner. I make fun of financial planners all
Yes.
the time. I like the idea of a wealth architect.
The wealth architect.
And all I do is education, man. It's all education. So I think this platform is perfect for what we're trying to do. If you
Building
guys
blueprints for your future.
blueprints for your future. If anyone listening wants to be interviewed and talk about the problems that they identified through their business that they eventually turned into a process. How did you turn a problem into a process and the problem went away? That's what we're looking for. Right now, Dave and I are talking about how to keep more, how to earn more, and we want to understand how you do it in your business. And if you are interested in sharing your story and being interviewed by us too, which I think would be, I cannot wait for these interviews to start. We have an application online. Go online. It'll take 2 minutes. Fill it out. Let us hear from you and understand.
Where
your
are they
business
going
better.
online?
They're going online to earnmorekeepmore.show.
.show.
Not .com.
.show.
.show.
It's been fun. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Drop the mic.
Matt, we just turned the calendar from 18 to 19, and whenever that happens, once a year we have an opportunity, and that opportunity is to really focus in and make some decisions about our lives. Have the New Year's resolution to really focus on the habits.
Right, correct.
How can we create the habits that will allow us to earn more and keep more? If we can create enough of those habits and build up that wall of habits that everything has to filter through, it will give ramifications of success.
Yep.
Because it has to.
Yep.
It has to.
Absolutely. You know, there's only 2 ways to increase your business. The first way is to increase your sales. Everybody knows this. Increasing your sales is hard to do. It might mean you spend more money. It might mean you take more risk. You have to change some things to increase the level of production that you're creating. The only other way to increase your business is to reduce the cost it took you to get there. So in your resolutions, there's one of 2 things you should be focusing on. How are you going to get to the next level as far as sales go? And given the sales that you've already made, how can you reduce your cost?
Let's do it. Let's get out there and earn more and keep more.
This has been a Goalpost production.
That's it for us. We are your hosts, Dave McAndrews and Matt Love. Our executive producer and creative guru is Jennifer McKinstry. Our social media director is Mark Farnes. And a very special thank you to Lansing's own Jose Moore for providing the music.
Thanks for listening.